I got a very interesting question, and the question I'm assuming was directed directly at me and not necessarily to all Jews, but I'm assuming it's also for everybody else. But the question was, if do we keep kosher, all the kosher laws, because there's a reason for that, or just because it says in the Torah, and we do it because we believe 100% that the Torah is right, and that's why we do it. So the answer is as follows. There are three types of mitzvot, of commandments. And they are separated to three different groups, and they are called chukim, which are laws, mishpatim, which are kind of rules, let's say, and edut, which is testimonial. And these are the three types of groups that all the mitzvot, all the commandments, are separated. So the mitzvot of edut, which is testimony, is all the mitzvot that we do that are testimony for something. For example, the mitzvah of Pesach, it's a testimony that we left Egypt. The mitzvah of Shabbat, is a testimony for the creation of the world. The mitzvah of Chanukah is a testimony for the miracle that happened in Chanukah, and so forth. Everything that is testifying for something that happened in the past goes under the category of the mitzvot called edut, testimony. The next type of mitzvot goes under the category of mishpatim, which is, for the sake of the explanation, I would call it rules. All the mitzvot of mishpatim are things that one would do even if the Torah wouldn't state it. For example, not to steal, not to kill, not to commit adultery, and so forth. All the mitzvot, all the commandments that one can do even if the Torah doesn't, even if the Torah wouldn't say anything about it, or even somebody who doesn't even know anything about the Torah, but he would still not do it. And then there's another category which is called chukim, which the direct translation of the word chukim is laws, but my English is not that good to translate it directly. But all these mitzvahs that fall under the category of chukim, which is, I would say, laws, we do it because the Torah says it, not because we can understand what it means. And for example, some of the mitzvahs that fall under that category is all the commandments that we have that concerning purity and impurity. And one of them is all the mitzvahs of kosher, because it's mitzvahs that we do because it says in the Torah. Now, every little thing that we do, there's an explanation for that. There's very few mitzvot that we do that it says in the Torah and we do it and there's no explanation. And one of them is the whole concept of purity and impurity. And there's a mitzvah for a woman to go to a mikveh, a ritual bath. Men also go to the mikveh. This is a mitzvah that we do because it says in the Torah, and there's no explanation how the body gets purity from going into that spiritual bath. But there are a lot of these mitzvahs that fall under the category of chukim that we do, and there is an explanation. For example, the whole concept of the kosher diet. Since this is the question, so I'm going to talk about this topic. First of all, we keep the laws of kosher because the Torah tells us to do it. And the Torah tells us all the rules about it. And we do it because the Torah tells us. For this particular mitzvah, there actually is an explanation. We know, for example, the Torah instructs us not to eat meat and dairy. So there is a physical explanation which was proven by science and medical that it's not healthy to eat meat and dairy together. In fact, from something that I read, is that it takes about an hour for dairy products to be digested in your body. And it takes about 6 hours for meat products to be digested in your body. And when somebody eats meat and dairy, the food comes down to the stomach, and the stomach doesn't know if it's meat or if it's dairy. If the majority of the food is, for example, meat, then it will digest the food as if it's all meat, and all the dairy products that are mixed in there will be digested in the long process digestion, which is 6 hours, instead of a 1 hour digestion, because the stomach uses different, I didn't even know how you call it in English, different like stomach juices, I think it's called, and it uses those juices according to what it recognizes in the stomach. So if somebody eats a cheeseburger and the stomach recognizes the meat and it starts digesting the whole thing with the meat juices, then what happens is that the dairy doesn't get digested right, and as a result from that, it becomes toxin in the body. And the same thing vice versa. So we see that even on the health level, it's not healthy to eat meat and dairy, and that is proven medically that it's not healthy to eat meat and dairy. If you ask any nutrition or any nutritionist or any doctor, they'll tell you it's a bad combination. We also know that there's certain things that we're not allowed to eat, certain animals that we're not allowed to eat. For each one of them, there is a medical explanation why we do it. So one might say, okay, medically it's not healthy, so I don't want to do it. But in these particular things, and in regards to this question, in regards to kosher, then yes, we do it because the Torah commands us to do it. More because what our mind tells us to do. And if the Torah instructs us not to eat meat and dairy, or not to eat certain animals or certain things, then it means that it's good for us. Because the Torah comes from the word in Hebrew, hora'ah. Hora'ah is teaching. So in the same way that you'll buy a DVD player or a computer or a camera, and the first thing that you do is you'll open the manual to read the instructions how to use that machine that you just bought. Why? Because if you're not going to read the manual, you don't know how to use the machine and you can damage it. So the same thing, we got a manual for this world. When a God created man, He put us on this earth, and together He gave us a manual how to use the body, how to use the machine, and how to use the world. And that is the Torah. So whatever is written in the Torah to do means that it's good for us. Whatever it's written in the Torah not to do, it means it's not good for us. Now there's more deeper explanations to everything, but on the surface, whatever the Torah instructs us not to do means that it's not good for us. So in regards to the laws of kosher, first, as an observant Jew, you do it because the Torah instructs you. It's a commandment. Then, if you want to be more learned and understand what you're doing and why you're doing, then you go and look more into it, and you will find that to most mitzvahs there's a very simple and clear explanation why we do it, and you find out that in regards to kosher, it's not healthy, it's not good for the body. In regards to other stuff, we also find explanation. So there are only very few mitzvot that fall under the category of chukim, that there is no explanation. And one of them I said is purity and impurity. The other one is the red heifer that is instructed in the Torah, and a few more things. But in basic, a lot of the mitzvot, I would say even most of it, has a very simple explanation that if one looks into it, they find it. But all the laws that fall under the category of chukim, we do it because the Torah commanded us. Not only that, even the commandments that make sense, like not to steal, not to commit adultery, not to kill, and so forth, we don't do it because our mind tells us that it's reasonable. We do it because the Torah commanded us. So everything that we do, first we do because God commanded us to do it, which means that it's the right thing to do. And then we work according to our seichel, according to our understanding. So when a God-fearing person follows the laws of the Torah, first he does it because the boss told us to do it, because it's a commandment and it's the will of Hashem. And that's how we're supposed to do everything, by taking it as accepting the yoke of Torah. Kabbalat ol. After that, after we did it because it was a commandment and we understand it came from God, then we can learn and see the explanation why why we do it, how we do it, why is it good for us, why is it not good for us, and so forth. So I hope I answered your question, and the next time that you're about to eat kosher, know that it's a commandment from above and there's a divine wisdom in it. And more than that, according to our understanding, it's also not healthy and not good for the body, and much more than that. So I hope I answered your question. If you're watching this video on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel so you can enjoy more videos. If you're watching this video on Facebook, please share it so the rest of the world can understand and know. And if you're watching it anywhere else, please like it and share it with the rest of the world. And I wish you an amazing, blessed day.